What's up, everyone? I'm going to break down exactly how we locked up a 10-bedroom, 4-bath co-living deal that's going to cash flow us almost $2,200 or $2,250 every single month. And the coolest part, the seller is actually paying for us to be able to buy this property. I'm really excited to break this one down for you. So if you don't know who I am, hey, Michael Manatskayan. I'm a real estate investor who owns over 100 rental properties, over 100, almost 200 co-living rental units, which are rent by the room properties. I also help other investors do the same thing. I help them build financial freedom through the co-living management strategy, through co-living, through creative finance, and through raising capital. So basically buying deals using none of your own money. I'm going to be doing a live breakdown today of a deal that represents literally everything that I teach. It's every part of every deal that I do, basically the creative finance component, restructuring it to make it a way better deal, buying it using none of my own money, leveraging co-living to not just generate maybe $100 or $200 a month, but to generate thousands of dollars a month on a great property in Dallas, Texas, that will continue to grow and scale and provide lots of value for us over the long term. So just as a quick preview of what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about how this 10-bed property in Dallas, how we were able to essentially structure it with no money going to the seller, how you can get paid handsomely, just like the Bird Dog and wholesaler who brought the deals to us. We're talking not $5, not $10, $35,000 for a deal like this. And if you're interested, how you can partner on future co-living deals just like this one, or even how you can learn how to do it yourself with the new co-living course that I'm launching in the next few weeks. So with that, let's just get right into the slides that I have for you all. At the end of this, I want to answer any and all questions if you guys have it. I want to be as extremely transparent about every part of this deal, how we found it, structured it, negotiated it, how everyone's getting paid, the total cost to buy it, the total cost to renovate it, the total costs or the total incomes, the expenses, everything. I want you to walk away from this and have such a clear understanding of what is possible through the co-living strategy, and for you to break the terrible advice that a lot of investors teach. They just teach a lot of basic rules of thumbs, a lot of generic stuff that's not really beneficial. And I want to break it down to you to really help you guys out. So with that, if you're not already following me on social media, please stay connected. Michael MNAT on Instagram. On my Instagram, that's where I have a bunch of various tools and resources for you, like how you could learn about co-living, bird dogging, so you can bring deals and get paid for it. Learn about, I said deal analysis, co-living, all that great stuff. I really want to help you guys succeed on your investing journey. So what we're going to break down today, takeaways for today's call, right? So how the deal was structured, how I'm able to generate a 21% cash on cash return, $2,248 a month of cash flow. And that's after setting aside $1,200 in reserves for vacancy, maintenance, and capital expenditures, even though it's a brand new build property and there's 100% occupancy in all the surrounding areas. So this $2,200 is on the conservative side. We're going to make maybe closer to $3,000 a month once it's all said and done. How we're able to buy this property leveraging creative financing, in particular the subject to strategy, even at a 7.125% interest rate, this deal still makes a ton of sense. And I'll show you exactly how and why. And the seller is getting paid nothing for this. If anything, well, in actuality, the seller is actually paying around $8,000 to $9,000 to offload this deal, and how we're able to take something that doesn't work for them to turn it to something that's phenomenal for me and my partners. I'm going to break down exactly how we're going to renovate it, furnish it, and get it cash flowing in months, not years. A lot of investors who talk about co-living now talk about all these other strategies like new builds, building something from the ground up, or they talk about doing full gut renovations on properties. I still love my strategy of buying properties and converting them into co-living. These properties are typically in really great condition already. They're already listed for sale. We're just taking all the common areas and converting them into bedrooms. This one has a lot of that, but there are some bathroom conversions in this one, which is not typical for what I primarily do. But that's why I'm partnering with a general contractor in the area who is phenomenal at doing this kind of stuff. And I'll break that down as well and the benefits of that. But yeah, so instead of waiting, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and waiting, 12, 18 plus months before you generate any real returns. Within months, we're going to be generating thousands of dollars of cash flow with very little risk and margin of error because the renovations are going to be fairly minimal in the grand scheme of things. It's very hard for things to go substantially wrong when you're converting rooms into co-living rooms, as opposed to trying to build something from the ground up or do a full gut renovation where anything can come up. Your projects take longer, your fees are way higher. And then I also want to break down kind of the various ways that we can do deals together. People always ask me, how do we do deals together? How do I provide you value? Well, here's 3 key ways if you're focused on co-living. Obviously, if you got deals, whether you're the wholesaler or you're a bird dog, in this instance, there was both involved in the deal, bring me deals and get paid. We're buying aggressively. We always buy. We buy multiple properties a month. Bring us deals and get paid for those deals. If you are someone who doesn't have the time or experience yet, but you do have the funds available, like you have capital available, and you want to own amazing properties like this one, whether it's just for the returns, whether it's for the returns and the ownership, whether it's for the returns and the ownership and the education, co-own deals with us. Be a capital partner. Come in as a partner and let's own these amazing assets together. And then you decide if you want to do it independently for yourself in the future, or you're just happy. Let's continue partnering on deals together. And also how you guys can learn how to do this yourself, leveraging my co-living course, the A to Z co-living course that's coming out. It's the lowest cost co-living course out there. It provides more value than any other co-living course out there. Why? Because I really want to help as many of you as possible understand co-living investing so you can take things to the massive next level. So this is huge. This is huge because I just want to dominate the competition, quite honestly. I want to provide you guys more value at a lower cost than anyone else is able to do. So the co-living course is not, it's going to be not just the education, it's also live calls and access to me and my team so that you can get your questions answered about deal analysis, about how do you think we can renovate this, if we have any referrals or contractors or managers or anything in the area. There's other investors that we know in the area. And all the tools, resources, and all that good stuff to help you on your investing journey. So let's get right into it. So the deal snapshot. Overall, this is a 3-bed, 2-bath property around 2,200 square feet that'll be converted effectively into a 10-bed, 4-bath. So the 2 bathrooms, and I'll show you on the layout that's going to come up, we're converting each of the bathrooms, we're splitting them into their own 2 bathrooms. So we're taking the existing bathrooms and just basically doubling them with the way that we're relaying them out. So we're not building any new bathrooms anywhere. We're building by taking existing bathrooms and turning them into 2 instead of just 1. This is a co-living conversion, my favorite way of buying a property. Buy the property, convert it low cost, as easily as possible, as quickly as possible into a great co-living investment, as opposed to new builds or full gut renovations. We're financing this thing as a full subject to deal. So straight subject to, we're taking over the seller's existing loan. They're actually getting no cash as part of this. We're taking over the 7.125% interest rate loan. Yes, that's a high interest rate loan. I know the questions that are always asked are, well, doesn't that kill your cash flow? Doesn't that like affect your returns? You won't know until you actually analyze the deal. Even right now, there's questions I see right now, literally asking the same thing because you've been indoctrinated to be lazy. You've been indoctrinated to do the bare minimum. And instead of actually analyzing an investment, you're focused on, well, the interest rate needs to be below this percentage, or the amount that I can pay a wholesaler is this dollar amount, right? Or I can't put in more than this dollar amount up front to make this deal work. You don't actually know that until you do deal analysis. And on top of that, there might be a give and take. Yeah, it's a higher interest rate, but we're getting into it for very little money down in total. And we're buying a property that's a couple years into its amortization schedule, meaning we're paying down more principal than we would if we just bought a brand new deal. So it's really just math. That's the cool part. If you learn how to effectively, what pieces you need to be able to effectively analyze, what are the most important levers to pull, how to restructure these deals, just like I teach my super investors community, this is how you're able to find all this amazing potential where others would constantly overlook this deal, and a lot of people have. But even with the high interest rate and acquisition fee or assignment fee, we're still able to get phenomenal returns. Over 21% cash on cash return, even after accounting for $1,200 a month in reserves. $2,248 a month of cash flow and another $1,200 a month for reserves, for vacancy, maintenance, and CapEx. In reality, this property was newly built within the last few years. And there's 100% occupancy around this property. And it's near downtown Dallas, a phenomenal location, which will always be full. So this 2248 is extremely conservative. It's going to probably bring in a lot closer to $3,000 or more every single month once it's all said and done, especially because we're already baking in over $10,000 of reserves upfront for this deal. And even with the really high assignment fee, I'm happy to pay this. You bring me phenomenal investments. You let me make them even better. I'm happy to pay whoever's part of this transaction as long as you put in some effort. What they did was they did their best to structure a deal. They didn't understand everything to the level that we did, which was fine. Basically, the wholesaler is making what the seller and agent could have made, but because they're able to buy this property or structure it, tens of thousands of dollars lower than what it would sell for traditionally, no cost, and have them cover some of the closing costs and transfer basically what would have gone to the others into them, I'm happy to pay it. The cost of what it would have been to pay a seller and agent the full amount on this deal would have been far greater than the assignment fee paid to the wholesaler and bird dog. Most importantly, I want you guys to get paid. I want you to succeed. So as I mentioned here, right, most people fear high interest rates or entry costs. I don't give a shit about that. I care about the property characteristics. And then what I'm doing is if it hits my buy box, my property characteristic goals, then I will analyze the deal fully because that's when you know what the actual returns are. So there's the lazy way to invest and there's the super investor way to invest. There's obviously, it's not binary. You can do everything in between. But if you just have very basic like systems or a process for deciding what deals you're going to buy, don't be surprised if you're not buying phenomenal deals or you're not buying any deals at all. It's really just a math thing, and it is a clear system, at least the way that I teach it. Get enough inputs, analyze those deals effectively, renegotiate them, then put them under contract like we did with this one. Originally, this thing would have been closer to a 15% cash on cash, got it to 19.5%, and then further improved it to around 21% cash on cash return, all while still paying the wholesaler a significant fee on this thing. So how we found and structured it? Well, a wholesaler got the deal from the seller, and then a bird dog brought it to me because they knew that this is the kind of stuff I'm looking for. The wholesaler found the motivated seller, and we helped them structure it into an actual deal after the bird dog brought it to me and brought awareness of it. As I mentioned, basically they dropped $40,000 in what the original purchase price should have been. And on top of that, closing costs, negotiating the agent commission down instead of a couple percentage like it should be, dropping it down to $2,500 flat fee that the seller is covering out of pocket. Seller is paying for that part of the negotiations. And then of the arrears, we have to catch up the sellers. They're behind on a couple months of payments. Well, they're covering half of it. We're covering the other half. All that in totality saved us tens of thousands of dollars between just buying it the regular way and then buying it the regular way, the agent commission, the arrears, and all that. So they deserve the money for that. As I mentioned, most people overlook deals like this because of high interest or wholesaler assignment fees or whatever. They're not like actually evaluating deals. They're just putting together the most simple way of determining what is and is not a deal. That's just not really what works well. So the seller, they were a retired landlord that was struggling with this one-off investment. They bought it in 2023, and I have a full layout coming up. They bought it in 2023 as their one and only investment property, and it stopped performing for them as a long-term rental because they got hit with a property tax adjustment because it was a new build. When the taxes went up, it completely wiped away their cash flow as a long-term rental. They didn't have any more tools in their tool belt, so they were getting behind on payments. They were losing money each month, then getting behind on payments. And when they tried to sell it traditionally, it couldn't solve their problem. Selling this property, like listing on the market, was not their solution. And if they were able to sell it at their final sale price, around $345,000, they would have paid tens of thousands of dollars to sell this property. Instead, they're paying $8,500, and we get a great investment. And instead of losing tens of thousands of dollars, they're paying $8,500, and they're not going to get foreclosed on, wrecking their credit. So because we're able to give them a fair exit, allow them to move on from this transaction, allow them to, not like deal with this property anymore because they don't know how to solve the problem like we can through CoLiving, remove the problem off their hands. They're no longer going to be facing foreclosure, and we're going to take care of this asset. It ended up working out well for us, even though they're paying $8,500 of their own money to help us buy this deal. They're paying $8,500 of their own money to help us buy this deal to lower our entry cost. And it still was a problem solver for them. This is what it's really about, understanding the seller's problems and structuring these deals as effectively as possible for the seller and for yourself, right? I'm an investor. If I can spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 less to buy a property, I'm going to. If I can generate more returns, higher cash flow, I'm going to. The only one time you get to really do all that is before you close on the property. Just like I tell super investors, it's your obligation for yourself and your capital partners to do all this negotiation as much as possible before you close on the investment. Once you close on it and buy it, the terms are set for the remainder of the deal. You cannot adjust those anymore. So it's imperative that you do everything in your power to make these as great deals as possible. Lower entry costs and increase your cash flow. Those both increase your cash on cash return, meaning every dollar you or your partner invests in the deal gets you higher. It's a higher return on every dollar you invest. So a traditional market could not solve this deal. Like, it was listed on market. They bought it originally in March 16, 2023 for $325,000. They listed it in April 7, 2025 for $374,500. That basically, if they sold it for that full price, they basically would have broke even from their purchase price, because when you buy a property, you spend a bunch of money in fees and all this other crap. And then when you sell a property, you spend all this money in fees and all this other crap, right? So they basically would have just barely broken even if they sold it for that full price. Well, they were not making money because they were leaving it vacant to try to sell it. And they were getting behind on mortgage payments because they were not generating income. They were not selling it fast enough. And they eventually dropped the price all the way down to $345,500. As I mentioned, even if they sold it at $374,000, they would have barely been breaking even. They sold it at $345,000, $30,000 less. They would have had to come out of pocket potentially tens of thousands of dollars by the time it's all said and done just to sell this deal. But the reality was, at that price point, they were more likely just going to get foreclosed on before they could actually sell, because they were already so many months behind on their mortgage. So what do we end up doing is we're buying the property, not at $374,000, not at $345,000, for $306,000, the exact amount of their loan, and catching up 50% of the arrears. They're covering, and their arrears are what they're behind on the mortgage. It's around $12,000. Seller's going to cover $6,000. We're going to cover $6,000. They cover the agent commission. We cover the rest of the closing costs. As I mentioned, wholesaler got this deal originally, put it under contract. We helped restructure it and maximize the returns. And now the seller is paying us $8,500 for us to be able to buy a property that generates 21% cash on cash return, over $2,200 a month of cash flow. How many of these properties would you need to be financially free? Honestly, just think about that. How many of these properties would you need to never have to work again a single day in your life? For most people, 2, 3 of these will cover already what they're making in their regular job. You get 5 of these, $10,000 a month of cash flow, not accounting for the ownership benefits. Properties are appreciating in value. Tenants are paying down your debts, and you get tax benefits. So our income is tax-free. How much would this change your life to just do one freaking deal like this? One deal, this one property is going to bring us $24,000 or over $24,000 a year of passive income and massive wealth benefits. It is imperative that you learn how to do this stuff if you are interested in actually investing in real estate and becoming financially free. I think a lot of people talk about real estate and educate about real estate, but they don't teach you the step-by-step roadmap to actually consistently find deals like this, analyze them, buy them, but not just buy them, but maximize all the returns so you can stack a handful of these properties and never have to work again for the rest of your life. Whether your goal is then to have $20,000, $50,000, $100,000+ a month of cash flow, or a goal is to just enjoy the rest of your life and peace out, you need to learn how to do this stuff. And it's imperative that you learn how to analyze these deals and restructure them so that you are buying properties at much lower entry costs, so you can buy more and more properties with less money, and that you're buying properties with as much cash flow as possible, so you have less investments resulting in much more returns for you, less headache for more returns. It sounds like a freaking perfect scenario. So the creative deal terms, right? The purchase price is exactly the loan amount that we're taking over, $306,633.71. They originally bought it Their original loan was $314,000 at 7.125%, which originated in July of 2023. By the time it's all said and done, seller is getting $0 as part of this process. They're actually going to pay $8,500, around that amount, to sell this property. The seller is going to cover 100% of their agent commission. They're going to cover 50% of the arrears. So that's $6,000 they have to get caught up. We're going to cover the other $6,000 to catch up the mortgage and the remainder of the other closing costs. But there really is very little closing costs in a scenario like this one, because there's no new loan. There's no new financing, right? There's no bank fees. There's no appraisals. There's none of this other stuff. We're covering our inspection, title costs, LLC formation costs. There's virtually nothing else. Oh, except the transaction coordinator, which I implore you to use a great transaction coordinator when you're doing creatively financed deals. If you need a referral to one, let me know. I'm more than happy to connect you with the people that I use, just so you can get a massive head start on your investing journey. But literally, the most important takeaway, the seller is literally paying for us to buy this property. They're paying $8,500 for us to be able to buy this property and make it make sense for us. Insane. That's what happens when you focus less on just saving your way to financial freedom and instead focusing on strategy. Focus on strategy and your skills over just savings. Savings is the longest, slowest, hardest path to achieve financial freedom. The best thing you can do is invest whatever you have available to improve your skills so that you can have better strategy, so you can structure more and better deals like this, because it only takes a small handful of deals like this to become truly financially free. So why does CoLiving make this possible in the first place? Well, it's not just the cash flow play. I mean, that's a huge part of it. A traditional rental was making them maybe $100 to $400 a month when it's fully rented out with no reserves or anything set aside. But when it was vacant, they were going massively behind in payments. CoLiving is allowing us to generate 5 to 10 times that, typically. In this specific scenario, they're barely breaking even as a long-term rental, right? Maybe $100,000 without reserves, but we're able to generate thousands of dollars by understanding the strategy of CoLiving, or the rent by the room strategy, combining that with creative financing, which then allows us to buy it with lower cost than someone else would have to do. In this instance, it's not a great interest rate. It doesn't really make much of a difference. It still works tremendously well. And then for me, as a capital raiser for my deals, I'm buying this property. Not only are we going to get over $2,200 a month of cash flow, conservatively, I'm doing so by understanding the strategy and the skills to develop and structure deals like this, but none of my own money. My capital partners are bringing the money for us to buy and own a property like this incredible property. The reason why CoLiving is great, because we're helping people who really don't understand this strategy yet. This is why I tell people it is so imperative for you to learn CoLiving. It's the number one rental strategy today. It's what I've been doing for the last couple of years and built a massive portfolio on, but it's only going to get more and more and more important, not just because of its profitability, which is huge for investors, but also the impact and the need for it in our current economy. The way it's set up, we need more affordable housing. That's the problem we're solving, and we're getting paid handsomely for it. Additionally, you can buy properties like we do from other investors who have failed their management strategy. This one's a failed long-term rental. I bought plenty of failed short-term rentals and mid-term rentals. I convert them into high cash flowing co-living investments because I understand the strategy when they do not. And because it doesn't work for them with their strategy, typically creative financing is very much a possibility for investments like this because they don't understand it. It makes a lot of sense for us. They're going to lose money if they try to sell it. Just like I showed you before, they had to sell it for $50,000+ to break even. We're able to buy the property creatively and generate massive returns where they otherwise would not have been able to, and they're going to face foreclosure or lose the asset, something terrible like that. It also helps sellers who cannot sell traditionally, right? I just showed you an example of they could not sell it traditionally. We're able to solve it through creative. And the best part, we're going to take this single family home, and now it's going to house 10 different individuals through affordable housing. They're going to be able to pay 30-40% less than market rent in their area, get all their rent included, their utilities included. Their all-in costs are going to be 30+%, if not 40+% lower than a one-bedroom apartment. They can then use that money to then go and enjoy their life, to save and invest, to do whatever they want with it. There's a ton of people who want that, and there's a ton of people who also need that. Because if they cannot afford a one-bedroom, their alternative is what? Just sleep in their car? Sleep in the streets? Rent out a hotel that's super expensive? Like, What is their alternative? Well, they don't have one. This is the alternative to provide them safe, high quality, affordable housing through the co-living model. So this is actually one thing I want to highlight. This is exactly what I'm teaching in my co-living course. This is exactly the A to Z playbook that everyone who attended my co-living workshop and all those that get access to the co-living course will get access to. Not only is it going to provide you a ton of knowledge and value, it's also all the same tools and resources we use in my business, plus live calls to help you. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't like it, you can cancel anytime. You literally cancel anytime. I'll even give you a full refund if you ask for it, because this is going to be the lowest cost co-living education, so I can make it as accessible as possible to people. And it's also going to be the best education and value that you can possibly get. I want you all to succeed. And for some of you, you're going to realize, hey, you know what? I want to take it to the next level. I want to take it to the next step. I want to learn how to raise capital. I want to learn how to better structure and find co-living investments. You might want to join my super investor mastermind community, but that may not be the case for you right now. You just need to focus on co-living. I want to make that as accessible and easy as possible for you all. All right, so let's talk about the conversion plan. We're taking this 3-bed, 2-bath property in Dallas, Texas, converting it to 10-bed, 4-bath. Basically, what we're doing is we're taking all these common areas, this living room, bedroom, dining area, bedroom, this huge great room, 2 bedrooms, this office, bedroom, the garage, 2 more bedrooms. So we're basically making bedrooms as cost effectively as possible, meaning our renovation costs are much less, and it's going to get done much more quickly, and it's going to cost, like I said, less, and more quickly. I mean, that's kind of the big benefit. We're able to operationalize this thing very cost effectively, very quickly, and there's little to no margin for error. Like if we mess this up and it costs a little bit more to do a wall, like it's not that substantial. Doing a full new development or you're doing a full gut rehab, well, there's a lot of ways that the price can start inflating and inflating and inflating up higher and higher. We're also taking this master bathroom and cutting it in 2. It's got a bathtub and a shower, cutting it in half, so it's 2 separate bathrooms, meaning this office has its own private bathroom. This ensuite primary bedroom has its own private bathroom. We're also taking this bathroom that's here, one of the 2 bathrooms that's existing, and splitting it into 2 because we already have all the infrastructure in place for that. Full transparency, our renovation costs will be around $50,000 on this investment. That's around $30,000+ less than all the remainder of the quotes that I got on this investment. So the reason why we're able to structure that is I'm giving ownership to the contractor. They're going to be a partner with us on this deal. They're going to do all the renovations at cost, meaning much better returns for me and all of our partners. And I'm giving them a portion of my ownership to ensure that they do it as effectively as possible, but cost effectively, but also build it out long-term and sustainably, because they're going to make virtually no money on the renovations. They're going to make their money on the ownership of the asset. So they're going to create it. They're highly incentivized to make it a phenomenal investment property. On top of that, they also do local co-living management, which they're going to do at a discount for us as being an owner of this asset as well. And they crush it, like 96+% occupancy for their Dallas investments. There's literally just like 1 room that's vacant, and that's going to get filled shortly. So here's a property walkthrough. I'm not going to go too far into the weeds of it. Actually, we're just going to skip it. It's just basically showing a lot of this is very low cost conversions. Add some walls, add some doors, nice and easy. And the layout of this house is perfect. So why I like this house? Well, it's got a really great floor plan with easy to convert rooms. Like I said, we're converting the living room, dining room. Great room is 2 more bedrooms. The office. All the bedrooms are exterior walls, so we don't have to worry about egress. So they already have the windows and the doors, so they have 2 points of entry and exit. There's minimal hallway space, so there's way less. It's way more efficient of a floor plan. There's way less space wasted on just hallways and stuff like that. Then the garage is going to be converted, which is not part of the 2,200 square feet, into 2 additional bedrooms, into basically its own full ADU, essentially, that has direct access to the house. As I mentioned, the bathrooms are basically, we're just converting existing bathrooms and splitting them into 2. So the master is turning into 2, and then the other bathroom is turning into 2. There's a lot of parking at this house, which is a key property characteristic for me. The driveway only allows for 2 cars, and there's 1 in front of it, but it's on a street in which, right next to our neighbor, there's a full empty lot that you can park on the street that no one else parks on, that can fit 10+ cars at any given time. And it's near downtown Dallas. It's a Class C neighborhood, which is great because that tends to work best and is the easiest to own and operate co-living investments when it's not in the most perfect neighborhood, but it's in a good neighborhood, but not the perfect, I don't know, what is it, Stepford Wives or whatever. Like when it's all this cookie cutter, suburbia, I don't know, whatever type of neighborhood, that makes it really hard to do co-living because people will complain. That's why I avoid HOAs. In a Class C neighborhood, people don't complain as long as you take care of your assets. And more importantly, this is in part of a path of progress. This property is going to increase tremendously in value over the next 5 to 10 years because a lot of houses around it are being improved and it's near downtown Dallas. Plus, we're going to make thousands and thousands of dollars a month, hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash flow while this property is appreciating over the next 5+ years. So the scope of work, I'm not going to get too far into the weeds here, but this breaks down all of the work. Like I said, this would take typically $80,000. I've structured it where our contractor is an owner with us, getting a portion of my ownership to do the conversion at the lowest possible cost possible. Entry cost in total. People rarely show this stuff. I don't know why. Maybe they don't have it. I don't know if they're just faking their deals or whatever. Here's the deal structure. Here's the entry cost. Here's the cost for the 7 bedrooms plus the furnishing cost with extra reserves. It's going to cost $128,262 between the acquisition costs, the majority of that going to the wholesaler and Bird Dog, the renovations and furnishing cost, and as well as having reserves for this property and carrying costs. So basically, we're going to cover all of the utilities, the mortgage payments, all that stuff for the next 3 months as we renovate, furnish, and get this property to rent ready and fully listed, plus have some around a couple $1,000s extra and just reserves sitting in the asset, just in case anything else comes up. So this is the entry cost to buy this deal. The income and expense on this property. I went conservative. Pad split in the area shows $255 or more for a private bedroom, with a private bathroom. Over $190 for a shared a bedroom that shares bathrooms. I went a little bit more conservative and went with the lower end because, I mean, that's just kind of how I do it. I'd rather under promise, over deliver. It just makes more sense for all of us involved. We have our utility cost per person. We also have landscaping, cleaning, our pad split management fee of 12%. Property manager gets paid 5%. Vacancy at 6%. Oh, whoops, this is not right. Vacancy is at 8%. Let me fix that. And if anyone wants the full analysis spreadsheet, I actually have it, and I'm more than happy to share it with you. I have a separate video for that if you wanted to see the full deal analysis breakdown. Just want to confirm that it is. Yep, vacancy is at 8%, even though there's 100% occupancy in the area, all around there. And the maintenance and CapEx is at 5%. Actually, that's not true either. That's where the mistake was made. Is at 6%. And the crazy part about this is it's still super conservative. We are covering cleaning. We're doing the landscaping. We're lower income than is projected in the area. We're slightly lower income than projected in the area. Our vacancy is at 8%, which means 1 month of the year, each room will be vacant essentially for 1 full month of the year. That's not very likely with the way that these units are set up and the way that we're furnishing them. They're going to get filled up quickly and tenants are going to stay longer because we're spending extra to add not just the bare minimum of a bed with a mattress. We're adding the nightstand with a lamp. We're adding a desk with a chair. We're adding full-length mirrors so they can get ready in their room instead of the bathrooms. We're adding artwork. We're adding extra features to make this a much better room for people to move into, as well as for them to enjoy this overall deal. It's actually insane to make $100,000 on a single family home income. That is actually insane. That is the power of co-living investing. And the maintenance and CapEx, this 6%, the typical rule of thumb is 10% for long-term rentals, but long-term rentals have substantially lower income. This 6% translates to $525 every single month, over $6,300 for maintenance and CapEx every single year. Well, the reality of it is the roof is not going to need to be replaced any sooner just because we have co-living versus traditional. There's a lot of big expenses that will not occur any more frequently or cost more because it's co-living versus traditional. The maintenance costs will be a little bit higher, which is what this 6% of this higher income accounts for. But in reality, we'll probably really need $300 to $400 a month set aside for this, not $500, which is fine. We're already walking into a property that's like brand new build. We're doing a ton of upgrades we're not just renovating the property to add the bedrooms. We're doing a bunch of upgrades to the HVAC, electrical, plumbing, all this stuff to ensure the long-term sustainability of this property and much lower cost for maintenance and CapEx. Between it being a fairly new build just within the last few years, it being fully renovated one more time to elevate the level for co-living, and for us already having thousands of dollars, almost $15,000 set aside for reserves on top of adding $500+ a month. The great part is the excess there will just go to us as cash flow as partners. A lot of these reserves, if it's not needed, will just be added as the cash flow for me and my partners. We're more than happy to take that, right? Why wouldn't you? It's just, it's better to underwrite assuming there are reserves. And if you need it, great. You've already analyzed for that. If you don't need it, great. You get $1,000 or $1,200 more in cash flow than you were anticipating. So the total returns on this deal, $2,248 in cash flow, so around $2,250 in cash flow, far exceeds my $1,000 a month goal for cash flow. The cash on cash return for this deal is 21%, which is literally bonkers because people are willing to buy long-term rentals that are just cash flow positive, generating virtually no cash on cash return. The old rule of thumb used to be you want a 10% or like a 5 to 10% cash on cash return for a long-term rental. I set it to 15% for co-living. 21% is absurd. That is an absurd cash on cash return, not only because you're getting ridiculously high cash flow for every dollar you're investing, but also because we're buying a bigger, better property in a better location, just getting way more ownership benefits. You buy bigger, better properties in Dallas, Texas, it's going to increase in value. You're going to pay down debts faster. You get more tax benefits than you would have otherwise. This shows what my private money partners get on this deal. They get a 35% ownership and cash flow split for their $128,000 investment. That translates to almost $10,000 a year of cash flow, $1,200, almost $1,300 in debt pay down, $4,300 in appreciation, plus tax benefits. So their cash on cash return is 7.6%, which is crazy as a private money partner because you're also getting the ownership benefits, resulting in over a 15% total return on investment. That's phenomenal. Those are phenomenal returns. If that's something you want to do and these are investments that make sense for you, reach out to me and we'll see if we can be partners on some deals. So I want to talk about 3 key opportunities for you all. How can we do deals together? Because people ask me all the time. This is a perfect example of the types of deals that I'm doing with a clear breakdown. So the number one thing is if you have deals, if you're a wholesaler, you know someone that is motivated, you are a bird dog, I'm buying aggressively right now. And we're paying fairly for the right deals, just like we did in this one. I don't put an arbitrary rule of how much I'm willing to pay. I focus on the deal returns themselves, allowing you to get more than others, or I'll help you renegotiate and make it a much better deal. This $35,000 assignment, that's not even possible for most creative deals. That's only possible in this scenario with the way the deal was structured. That's like a fix and flip cash deal where you start getting returns of that amount for an assignment fee. But we're getting ridiculous returns. It's okay for us to pay and make sure everyone is taken care of in these types of investments. So if you're an agent, wholesaler, investor with leads, bring those to us. We'll help you analyze and structure them. What I'm primarily looking for are 3-bed and 2-bath or larger properties that are at least 2,000 square foot in core co-living markets. Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Tampa are some of the core co-living markets. No HOA, and they have a great layout. And I want motivated sellers that are ideally open to creative financing. If it's already under contract, even better. I'll just help renegotiate that based on actual terms. This link right here is for my free Wealth to Real Estate School community. Why do I highlight that? Because I'm going to show you exactly why. Because you get access to all this stuff. If you have to pay for the co-living workshop, this is different. Don't pay for this right now. Just wait until my new co-living offer comes out. So you're going to pay much less monthly and get more returns for that. But you get all forms of deal analysis here, all the tools. I got a free calculator for you, free checklists for the information you need to analyze these deals, a beginner's guide for co-living, which has some phenomenal training, some phenomenal resources in here for you. I give away the first part of my Super Investors education, the Financial Freedom Foundations trainings, because I want you all to be financially free and have massive success in your investing journey. How can I do that? Well, helping you understand the basics of personal finance, net worth tracking, how you actually become financially free through real estate, what that even means, and developing your roadmap. I give all that away for free, even though it's for my paid Super Investors Mastermind community, plus bird dogging. This is the main one for you. If you want to learn what are we buying and what are we looking for, I break it all down here. I tell you, where are we looking? What are CoLiving markets? How to access this data for yourself? How to submit deals? The free calculator that I give you guys to be able to analyze not just co-living, but co-living, short-term rental, mid-term rental, long-term rentals in all forms of creative finance, including cash and traditional. You can analyze cash deals, traditional deals, subject to, seller finance, hybrid, so the combination of those two, Morby methods. You can analyze all these types of deals through this calculator, and it's all for free for you guys, plus all this training. So that's what this takes you to. If you want to look it up manually, go for it. School.com/wealth-rei, or just take a photo or whatever you got to do to scan this QR code. You just set up your free account on School and you get access to all that for free for you guys. On top of that, there should be a link at the bottom of this video that leads you to this community as well. Number 2 are capital partners. We buy deals like this with our private money partners all the freaking time. Every single deal I buy is with other people's money. We get the deals, we make them as great as possible. Our capital partners bring the money, and then we operate these assets and ensure we all get solid returns as much as possible. Like, that's literally the goal. And we do this all the time. So if you want to co-own investments like this, you want to be a private money partner where you don't just get a fixed interest rate return, but you actually own the asset, get the benefits of cash flow, get the benefits of equity, all the upside. This is how you do it as a private money partner. If you want to be a private money lender where you just lend money for a fixed interest rate return, I'm always happy to do those as well. It just depends on a deal by deal basis. So yeah, we've helped dozens of partners join us on past projects, including, now at this point, hundreds due to fractional, and we're opening up a few more spots for some of our final end of year acquisitions, as well as leading into next year. So if this is something you're interested in, you want to see the types of deals that we're buying and see the returns that we're offering, you want to be an investor with us, a partner with us, you can go to this URL, or you can scan this QR code and fill out my very short form. It's going to ask you a couple questions, will allow you to connect with me so we can get on a call and make sure we're the right fit. Like, I'm the right fit for what you're looking for, and you're the right fit for what we're looking for. That's what that form will lead you to. On top of that, my co-living course, which comes out literally the very beginning of November 3rd. It's if you want to learn how to find, fund, and manage deals just like this one for yourself. The co-living course is your A to Z full roadmap. It's everything I teach and do inside in the Super Co-Living Club in Super Investors, primarily focused on co-living, right? It's not about capital raising. It's not about like finding creatively financed deals, but it's learning how to do co-living at the highest level, every single part of it, as well as how to analyze these investments, creative or not, and all the tools, calculators, templates, everything I could possibly provide you. This is such an understatement for what is included in there. Like I said, I want you guys to have your trial. Go for it. When it launches, sign up for it. If you don't like it, cancel. If you really hated it, get a refund and steal all my stuff in there. I could care less. I want you guys to succeed. This allows a filter for who's in that community, so I can make sure that the group coaching calls are not so large that everyone gets value from it and you get to get your questions asked. But it's a filter to ensure that's the case. But it's so cost effective that there's literally no excuse if you want to invest in real estate why you couldn't join. It's the most value with the least amount, with the lowest possible cost in the entire co-living space. And like I said, this is launching soon, November 3rd. And if you want to get the first heads up about it, this QR code leads you back to Wealth Through Real Estate. Make sure you're part of my free Wealth Through Real Estate community. There are almost 2,000 members in there, bird dogs, capital partners, wholesalers, funders, buyers, literally everyone on the spectrum in there. And the main emphasis is finding great investments like this one for people who are in the buy and hold space. Whether you're providing them deals, the money, you're the buyer, whatever you want to do, it's all in there, plus tons of free courses, tools, and education. So with that being said, I want to open it up to you guys. I want to open it up to see what questions you have about the deal, the structure, co-living, partnering. I want to leave some time on the back end to answer those. Ideally, if you have some key takeaways, I'd love to hear that as well, because I do all this, literally so much of this, absolutely for free. Like 98% of the stuff I do is for free. Yes, I have my paid Super Investors Mastermind community. every person that joins the Super Investors Mastermind community has everything at their fingertips to get all their money back and then 10x that within the first year, as long as they're taking action. I cannot control your action. You have to learn and execute, and I provide you all the support tools and resources to do so. That is one of my paid offerings. This co-living course coming out is going to be a very low cost paid offering for you all to join this investment or to learn how to do this stuff for yourself. Otherwise, I give literally everything else away for free. I want to help you guys. So what you can do for me is repeat or highlight some of your key takeaways so I know the value that you're getting and what you want more of. All right, so I'm going to look through these questions first. I'm going to just stop sharing for the time being. Cool. All right, let's see these questions. All right, we'll start with closer in Florida facing foreclosure. Let's see. Let me make this a little bit bigger for me. All right. Seller in Florida facing foreclosure could possibly work as co-living. Okay. Thank you for that, Pansy. I appreciate that. But I just showed you how you can submit deals to us. I know this was much earlier, so submit that information. If it's not me, this is the benefit of my Super Investors Mastermind community. These are all highly educated, ready to roll co-living investors, some with several, if not dozens of co-living properties, access to tons of capital, have all the same education and knowledge that I provide them. So if it's not me, it could be one of them that buys these deals. Share that in Wealth Through Real Estate, my free community. If you join the co-living course that I'm going to launch November 3rd, that's also going to get you direct access to super investors so you can bring deals directly to them and then get paid a higher fee and get paid to learn how to do this kind of stuff. So it's not enough information here for me. You got my form. It's in there. I know you asked this question earlier. So just share that with me so I can provide you more value. Yes, Lisa, I agree. Buying a property with zero cash to the seller, that's going to generate $2,200 plus a month in cash flow that I'm putting no money in to buy, which is going to get me close to $1,000 a month myself of cash flow. It's pretty sick. Strategy over savings. Learn the skills, learn the strategy. It's what allowed me to set myself apart from the majority of people in the investment communities that I'm part of. I'm forever grateful for my mentors and to my mentors for all the advice, guidance, education, tools, resources, everything they provide me. But at the end of the day, I had to learn the high-level key concepts from them. I had to learn that myself at the end of the day. Cool. You're saying co-living exists. Great. Let me learn how to do that. You're saying capital raising is possible. Great. Let me learn how to do that. You're saying creative financing is the way to buy deals. Great. Let me learn how to do that and understand it at the highest level possible. Let me combine it all into my super investor cheat code of creatively financed co-living deals using other people's money. That's how I've been able to buy over $25 million of real estate using other people's money and to become financially free before I turn 30 years old. This is literally the goal for everyone. Don't worry about the fact that I did it earlier in life than a lot of people probably will. But you got to realize is it took me less than 5 years to accomplish the entire goal. And I had to learn the majority of it on my own and learn it through learning the concept and then executing it and then improving it. Whether things went right or wrong, constantly improving the process to where now it's this standardized machine. It's like a beautiful factory, constantly getting deals like this, structuring them effectively, raising the money for them, and then we all get to win from these scenarios. Yeah, Miguel, answer this question. So a high interest rate is not a deal killer because the cash flow or cash and cash return, the interest rate could be a deal killer. It could or it could not be. You have to analyze the deal to see what is your cash flow. I don't care if it's high interest rate or low interest rate. I mean, there's benefits if it's lower interest rate. You're paying more debt down faster. But for the sake of cash flow and cash on cash return, it does not matter what the interest rate is. It matters what your payments are. If you're making substantially more in income than what your payments are, you are cash flowing. If you're cash flowing a lot relative to the amount of money you invest, you're getting a high cash on cash return. You don't know that by just looking at an interest rate. You know that by actually analyzing the deal. As my man Rick said, it is a big math problem. Exactly. It's really not that hard once you understand how to do this stuff step by step. Lisa, did we do a site visit or use boots on the ground? Absolutely. Contractor and local boots on the ground partner sent them out immediately once this was a possibility to do this deal. They verified and validated the video walkthrough. We got the contractor to give us the full renovation scope and get a lot of different quotes, and to realize, okay, you know what? This is going to be the route we're going to go with this contractor. We're going to partner with this guy instead of just paying full price for a contractor. We're going to pay at cost and give him ownership stake, because it results in a much better deal for all of us involved. But not just that, it ensures that they're going to do the work at the highest level possible, because their main incentive is not the renovation cost. It's not even the little bit of management fees that they get. It's going to be the actual ownership stake that they get in this investment. Thank you, brother. This is a phenomenal deal. Such a good deal. Sweet deal structuring. Absolutely. I appreciate you guys. My man, Oscar, Amy. Is there room to add an ADU on the property? So I didn't even talk about that, because I can't share the address. I can't share any of that stuff right now until we close on it. But there's a huge backyard with there's 2 ways to access it. That could easily add another unit there. It doesn't make sense to do that right now, but it could in the long term. When we refinance out of this high interest rate debt, one of the benefits of high interest rate is if we refinance in the future, it's more than likely at a lower interest rate, which means our cash flow is going to go up in the future. So when we refinance and we get a lower interest rate in the future, our cash flow will go up because we're paying less on the debt, right? Where that's the opposite. When you buy a property with very low interest rate, and that's the only way it works, if you want to tap into your equity and you refinance the property, it's going to eat into a lot of your cash flow at this new higher interest rate. We don't have that problem. We're able to refinance and not only generate the same, if not more cash flow, and tap into our equity. What I'll do in the future is pull money out and build out in the back, or just sell off the property, 1031 exchange it into another asset. For the time being, there's no point of adding any more unnecessary work to this property when we're already making $2,200+ a month every single month on this deal conservatively. $3,000+ if our reserves are less than we anticipate. All right. Yeah, so Rick would like to see the whole deal analysis. If you want to see the entire whole deal analysis video, I need you to comment so I can follow up with you. Comment the word analysis below this video, whether you're watching live or the recording. Comment the word analysis below this video, and I will send you the full deal analysis. I will show you how it was, how it was restructured, and then how we got it to its final form, what all the returns look like, all the analysis, so you can learn how we not only just analyzed the deal and structured it, how we got the income comps, how we got the expenses, how we determined our cash flow and cash on cash return, how we determined our capital partners, what amount they're bringing to the table, how much money they're bringing, and what their returns are. So if you want that, drop the word analysis below and I'll give you that full training video. So Rick, great question. So yeah, there are some occupancy laws in certain areas where cities, states, whatever, local municipalities, just depends on where it's at, have laws that prevent non-related folks living together. Typically it's 4 or more, sometimes it's 6 or more. Those are called occupancy laws. There are plenty of locations that do not have occupancy laws, or did and they revoked them, like Colorado, basically just removed them entirely. And then there are others where they have occupancy laws, but they do not enforce them. For example, my favorite co-living market, our Atlanta market, they have occupancy laws on paper. They just don't enforce them because they understand the net benefit is massive. If people are renovating their properties effectively, they're taking care of their tenants, they're not causing huge issues for their neighbors or for their tenants. They want more affordable housing in their cities where people are priced out of being able to live there, and they live and work there, but they cannot even afford to actually live there. Well, the net benefit for them is they get these people housed at high quality housing with people who actually take care of them. And so they look a blind eye to some of these occupancy laws. Is that the case always? No. So don't be a slumlord. Don't be a terrible person. Don't try to cram even more rooms than is possible comfortably for this investment. Like this one had a very comfortable layout for everyone. And we're following all the building codes and standards with electrical, egress, all those kinds of things. We're considering all the safety and building codes nonetheless to ensure that our properties are very well constructed for our tenants. Dallas passed the agency to accelerate the process. Great deal. Thanks, guys. This was an on-market deal brought by a wholesaler and connected through a bird dog. So are we going to offer washer dryer free or coin operated machines? I tend to always offer free washer dryer. The only time I have not is one property that I own It's a 4-unit property, and that one is coin operated because that's what I bought. That when I bought the property was that way. For me, I just prefer to just bake it into the total cost. So instead of collecting coins and someone picking it up or using like a credit card system, which eats into your fees, just give that to the tenants, give them access to it, and just include it as part of your overall pricing. For a refi, will you need to use a specialty lender for co-living? Yes, but there's already co-living DSCR lenders out there for the refinance currently. And we're talking about doing a refinance in 5+ years to cash out our capital partner's original investment. That's 5 years from now. There's already co-living DSCR lenders. There will only be more and more. It's the same thing that happened with Airbnbs or short-term rentals. There was none, then there were some, and then now there's no shortage of DSCR lenders for that loan product. It's only going to grow and grow and grow. And the opportunities for these lenders and the opportunities to get financing is only going to grow and grow and grow, especially over the next 5 years, where it's projected that the roughly $10 billion market cap for co-living rentals will double over that time period. And to put into perspective, going from 10 to 20 over 5 years is insane growth, but it's still just scratching the surface of just even what short-term rentals are, which is over $100 billion market cap. So there is still so much growth potential, but it's going to grow faster than any other management strategy out there, which also means all the resources and tools available, insurance, lenders, all that stuff becomes more and more prevalent and more competitive. So it's at lower and lower costs. All right, lots of people want the analysis. I got you covered. So Dallas asks, does PadSplit manage the co-living properties? It's a combination of the two. PadSplit does not manage co-living. What they do is they provide a product, a service similar to what Airbnb provides to short-term rentals. What PadSplit does is that's where they're spending a ton of money marketing to prospective tenants, people that would want to live in your house, right? They're spending that money. Then the people are applying through PadSplit. People who apply through PadSplit, they're submitting all the information to PadSplit themselves instead of directly to us. We get to verify it through their platform, but they make that process easier for getting potential tenants. On top of that, they also get, they collect all the income. They have a great dashboard for tracking the income, for tracking the occupancy, for tracking maintenance requests, allowing us to communicate with our guests with the least amount of effort and the least amount of friction, essentially. Just kind of what Airbnb does for short-term rentals, but they don't actually do the management. So if a tenant needs to get moved in, that's on us to do. If a tenant needs to move out, that's on us to do. If we need to send a contractor out or a handyman, that's for us to do. If we need to send more supplies or whatever, that's for us to do. We still do the management on the back end. In this instance, we're hiring a property manager at low cost on the back end to do that on the back end of what PadSplit is doing, which is also our partner in this deal. Our general contractor also owns a boutique style co-living property management company in Dallas. And what he's doing is, because that's his core market, he's able to offer that on the deals that he owns as well and does it at a lower cost. And it just basically covers the cost for his team to do the work. He does a tremendous job, him and his team do, and it's a win-win for all of us involved. I agree, Leo. Co-living is extremely powerful. It's one of the best possible strategies out there. I mean, there's nothing compared to it. Let me see what my friends on Instagram have said. Everyone's saying hi. Hi, guys. Hi. Yep. So if you want PadSplit, I mean, I've shown so many videos on this. Use this link. This exact link. Oh, well, that one's to get the map, but you can't actually access it until you create an account. So let's create the account. Use this link right here. This is my personal link for PadSplit. What this means is if you join, great. And you join and successfully create a co-living property that has 4 or more bedrooms within like 30 days, great. I'll get a little bit of a commission on it. That rarely ever happens. No one ever really does it within the first 30 days or whatever. But the benefit for you for using my link is that you get connected to my account representative at PadSplit. The reason why that's so beneficial is I've worked with her for the last several years. She understands things the way that I understand things. She understands when I need certain information. She knows exactly what to provide and how to provide it, and does it in a timely fashion. On top of that, she is also an investor herself, which is an extra value add. She does co-living investing. use this link. You get connected to her directly. It's a massive win for you. If you end up buying your first co-living and operating within the first 30 days, great. I make a few $100 or whatever they're paying. I've literally received $0 from them for all the people that I referred. So I'm not banking on that. I just want you guys connected to the rep that I use. All right, so we got a lot of awesome people in here. Super glad for that. A lot of people want to partner on these deals. Thank you, guys. A lot of people want the analysis. I got you. I'll get you covered on that. Lisa asked about last question. Okay, so placing cameras in public areas. So exterior and common area, main common area, yes, that's basically it. We don't do like, obviously, no bedrooms, no bathrooms. Typically, exterior entryways, sometimes the core common area, and that's it. No, Ronald, my pad split rep is Blake. So that's who I got. That's who I got for you. Yeah, this is an understatement. I'm literally giving you guys free access to tools, education, resources, things that people charge thousands of dollars for. I'm giving it to you absolutely for free. Same with a co-living course coming out. For an extremely low monthly cost, you're going to be able to learn everything and then some about co-living that people charge thousands of dollars, $5,000, $10,000+ $1,000 for the same education, if not worse education. I'm going to give it to you at a much lower cost through my co-living course. And even better, I'm one of the biggest co-living investors in the entire co-living space. So, I can't validate that 100%, but every community that I'm part of, all the co-living groups I'm part of, I own more co-living than anyone else. Maybe there's some secret person I don't know about that owns a lot more. I don't know. As an engineer, I'm overly nuanced, and I have to clarify, it may not be the biggest. One of the biggest people completely out there, and you get step-by-step education, tools, resources, a step-by-step roadmap, a 90-day roadmap to getting your first investment. Thank you, man. That's exactly what I try to do. Just try to provide as much value to you guys as possible. All right, with all that, I appreciate you guys. You have a phenomenal rest of your day. And for those that dropped analysis or will drop analysis, I will get you a link to the deal analysis recording sometime in the near future. Appreciate you guys. Have a phenomenal rest of your week.